So. All right, let's go. Let's call the meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the regular meeting of the Southampton Town Board of Trustees, March 4th, 2024. I'll ask the Secretary Treasurer to do roll call.
President Scott Horowitz.
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Ed Warner, present. Richard T. Marin.
Here.
Present. Joseph McLaughlin.
Here.
Matt Parsons.
Present.
You have a quorum,
All
Mr.
right,
President.
thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the people that are on Zoom. Just for information, our next trustee meeting will be here on March 18th, 2024, the work session at 9:30 a.m. With our regular meeting at 1 o'clock p.m. We did receive some communications. I will dispense or make a motion to dispense with reading them, as you can all read them at your own leisure.
I'll second that.
Seconded, Trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
We do have some discussions on. I see Secretary Treasurer Warner has a 2024 Cornell Cooperative Shellfish Seeding proposal to discuss.
Okay, we're in receipt of the annual proposal from Cornell for our annual shellfish reseeding. We've each gotten copies of it to look at. It is quite a bit, the cost is quite a bit higher than it was last year, and I would just like, being that we have
Right there. Chip, can you pass that to Ed?
three new board members, I would like to get some input from, from them as far as where we're gonna be heading with the, I don't know, where we're gonna be heading with it this year, so that we can get back to Cornell with a, an acceptance of what we think is best as far as what we need as far as our reseeding and with the oysters, clams, and scallops. So I don't know if you want to have a discussion with it now, or if you guys want to think about it and bring it up at
Well, I
next.
think like we spoke before, it's like the concentration's really gotta be on base columns.
I agree.
Well, I mean, I can read the proposal that they submitted.
Numbers,
This is for 2024. Hard clams, 850,000 at 15 millimeters would be $32,300. Oysters at 50,000 at 35 millimeters, $3,650. Bay scallops at 40,000 at 40 millimeters would be $1,800 for, a subtotal of $3,775. Indirect costs would be $6,195 for a total of $43,945, which is about, I believe it's about $10,000 more than last year.
Last year, I'm looking at the contract right now, it looks like it was $37,655.
So about 5,000.
We do have a budget of only $40,000 for this at this time.
Okay. And that 40,000, does that include the fish stocking also?
No, $45,000 if you want to include the
Okay.
$5,000 towards fish stocking.
So, I mean, I know bay scallops seems to be a big issue as far as being able to keep them alive in our programs as far as what we've done. I know we have gone, last year, there was some CPF money that we had used for the Cornell to put some extra bay scallops in the water, and the year before, I believe they put 300,000 in on top of that. So there has been some more reseeding outside of our annual budget that we have proposed. So, I mean, I don't know what you guys' thoughts are, but,
I mean, my thoughts are out of the gate is that it's such an important resource to our town. And like on the hard clam end of it, it's been working fantastically. I mean, I wouldn't want to deviate from what we have been doing over the last decade because our numbers have been fantastic. I'm not opposed to increasing our budget a bit on this because it is so important with the bay scallops. So it's a small amount, I think, to get it to where we can do a decent job on the fish stocking and, work in this proposal. But I think we need to be consistent.
Well, could we ask them to just reduce some numbers to keep it at budget neutral?
or would you like me to
Last
ask
year.
them to reduce the hard clam proposal and maybe up the bay scallop proposal, because 40,000 versus 850,000, that's, substantially big difference.
It
I mean,
is a big difference, but
Yeah, but we've got a substantial, healthy set of clams going on
Yeah,
We're also
on their
getting
South Shore Bay.
We're also
That
getting
like, I don't, for the size of those clams and the amount that it's costing us, I think that we get a lot more bang for our buck with scallops and oysters than for pea-sized clams. But that's just my personal opinion.
and I'm also thinking Soar is giving us all those oysters too.
yeah, they're gonna be placed in western Shinnecock, but normally we have spread the oysters in eastern Shinnecock, Cold Springs, we do have oysters coming from Conscience Point Oyster Company that we put in Sabonic and the West Neck Complex. So, I mean, it's open for discussion. I mean, if you wanna, just, think about it and get back to me for our next meeting.
Yeah, we
So
can
we
do
can,
I have a question. Does anyone know what the indirect costs is for? The 6,195?
that I,
People sending them out, right?
That looks like is that a new fee?
well, normally they charge you, they come in here and they give you a couple of hours of education. That's why I'm, asking everybody to look at this contract, the proposal, so that so I can get back to them and ask them, these questions.
from the perspective of the activity, though, this has been a kind of an important part, I think, of keeping things running and kind of, it is going in a good direction, so I would be really looking to maintain consistency and
Well,
that success.
for my personal thoughts, I'd rather take take more bay scallops and less hard clams, I think, and move some of the bay scallops into, the western part of the town, specifically Moriches Bay, because western Moriches Bay and, Bellport did have a very good scallop harvest this year, and they had a very good, scallop harvest along with a very good success rate for spawning up there, so there's another set of scallops. So the water quality isn't as bad as the Peconics in some of the areas in eastern Shinnecock Bay as far as living.
Is this number consistent with what we did last?
No, it's quite a bit higher.
So it's higher. So what did we do last year? I'm sorry.
Jessica, what were the hard clams?
The
last-
number. Not the dollar amount, because everything's inflation, but
Let
the
me pull it
number.
up.
I mean, there used to be a good clam set in Tyann.
Yeah,
I mean, scallop set in Tyann.
yeah, we put scallops there every year,
Historical,
that's where we've been putting the majority of the
But
scallops.
where you put them and where the spat in 30 days goes is kind
That's-
of like a crapshoot.
Well, we try to put them in China Bay proper, like off of Walt Lane's house and in there, so they have a little bit more residency time,
Yeah.
the set.
Well, you don't have to look at it now, but I think that whatever this number was in the hard clams for the prior year, I think, if it was 600,000, I think you should maintain consistency with
All
that.
right, all right,
That's just the hard clam fishery has been really good.
Yep.
And I want to make sure that it stays
So,
good.
so what I'll do by next meeting, I'll have last year's,
Comparison.
comparison and the year before, so I can get a couple years running, and then I could give it to the board so that we can have a further discussion, and then I'll find out what the indirect costs were for the
Right.
for the proposal.
We should also, while we're talking about it, is take into consideration the fish stocking,
Yes,
right? And then maybe if we have to make some type of a budget adjustment or something,
yeah.
we can maybe do that holistically.
The fish stocking, I believe we went with, what was it, $5,000 last year, Jessica, for the
Yes.
ponds? I would really like to see that duplicated the same, at least this, for $5,000.
So we may have to make some budget adjustments.
Yep.
All right, so let's take a look at that.
Okay, I'll get it together for next meeting,
Thank you.
okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
And I'll get a proposal from the two vendors that we get the fish from, so that we could have that to discuss
Follow
also.
the procurement
Yes,
procedure.
yes.
Cornell Cooperative Extension Peconic Estuary Research Request, another discussion.
I don't, Jessica, what is this specifically about? I know they had request, the horseshoe crab,
Yeah.
sampling at Little Pikes. I know we were gonna write a letter of
We
permission.
have a resolution on for that today,
Okay,
for the horseshoe crabs, letter. They sent a letter to us and to Parks
Dispense
and
with
Rec,
the reading of that.
wanting
Oh,
to
yeah.
do research in the Peconic estuary, requiring the use of a vessel. I'm just gonna pass this
yeah,
down to
they
you,
want,
Ed.
they want permission to use our launching ramps and,
Yes.
and we could give them permission slip to put in their vehicle so that they could do the research.
Yeah,
and
can we just give like a letter of permission,
letter
or?
of permission for what, and find out what vehicles they'll be using.
They did include the registrations of the cars.
So that we can give them, basically, permission to use our facilities, and if the parks would be so gracious to do that too, to do research in our waters.
For the year? It sounds like
For
they
the-
want to do it a couple times
Yeah, they
throughout
want
the
to
year.
do it several times. I believe it's like 6 times. So, I mean, we've worked with Cornell on many
Yeah.
projects, so I think
We
it's
have.
15 times, they said, between June and so it's something I'd like to recommend that we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mark,
Okay.
can we
Work
work
well
on
with
can we work on a letter of permission
Yep.
for this? Mark?
Absolutely.
It's a little bit different than the horse, well, we
This
do-
isn't something that we've done
Mark.
before.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Either it could be a Zendesk request for a contract to be created, or it could be the form that we've already created with the letter of permission and the indemnity. It's a one-page. I know we've used it before. You have it already when we get permission for somebody to do
Yeah,
anything.
projects.
That's what we've used it.
Yep.
You don't have it, let me know and I'll send it again.
If you could send
But
it
if
to
you actually
me.
would rather it be a contract, that's something we might be able to do too. But yes, that's not a problem at all.
Okay.
Either way, depending on what you guys want.
Sounds
Alright.
like, sounds like you want to do a letter of permission.
Yeah, letter of
Right,
permission would
okay.
be simple, yes.
Okay. Yeah, if
Okay?
you could send that to me, Mark, that'd be great. We'll work
Okay.
on that.
Okay,
Thank you, Mark.
no problem.
Next, we had a notice of public hearing on amendment of Blue Book A340, amending the management and products of the waters of the town of Southampton. Boat ramp and 4x4 beach driving permit, so.
Good afternoon, trustees. You need to close the hearing. We had taken oral testimony at the last meeting. You left it open 2 weeks for written considerations. I don't know if you've gotten any written considerations, but in any event, the procedure at this point would be to close the public hearing. We have notice of adoption in the agenda.
Yeah, and I think, we had 2 weeks
Yep.
written,
Mhm.
so,
You
yeah, I
did.
would. So we have to open this again, or?
No, it's
You
open.
just need to
It's
close
open
it.
now.
Okay, we're just.
So I'll make the motion to close it.
Second.
Seconded, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Closed.
Thank you, Special Counsel Lombardo.
Thank you, sir. Public portion, anybody that would like to address the board for a few minutes on whatever their issue is, Zoom also, raise your hand. You're here for public portion too? Let him go first. Has anybody on Zoom got their hand up? Okay, come on up.
Mark McIntyre. I was just listening to your conversation and discussion of the cooperative extension shellfish seeding proposal. And it struck me, and perhaps I'm wrong about this, but it struck me that obviously it's a very important part of your agenda, ongoing agenda. You've done great work in this area. And is this known by the public? And do you have victories here that haven't really been made known to residents of the town of Southampton? Maybe you have, I don't know about them. And perhaps a way to approach that would be to get Cornell, for all the money you're going to be paying them, to write up a report as to what's been done in the last 5-10 years, all the success that's been had, the challenges you're facing, and figure out a way to make it public and get the good work of the board out to the public.
Every year they come in and give us a report on their shellfish seeding. When they do the seeding, they GPS the coordinates, and it's all readily available in our office. We actually have maps showing in Cold Spring Ponds and Shinnecock Bay and other places where they have done the clams, oysters, and scallop reseeding. So it's all there for the public's knowledge. It's
Yeah.
all very, out in front, and there's.
I read the Southampton Press like everybody else. The East Hampton Star would be interested in this story too. I just wonder if,
We
you know.
never have done an actual story.
It's like.
I just think, you guys are doing great work and it's kind of,
You're correct. I mean, I appreciate you recognizing that, and, the whole Shinnecock Bay got recognized as a hope spot by Mission
Right,
Blue, right?
right.
So, I mean, that's a good recognition. It's a true testament of the collaboration with Stony Brook, Southampton, and Dr.
Right.
Gobler, and all of the great people that are involved there, and the trustees, to get this thing to go, and we're
Right.
really sensitive about that, and we do a lot with Cornell and other organizations. And, 11 years I've been sitting on this board and 4 years on a prior board, and with the work that we do for the environment and the public and the access that a lot of the folks don't know about.
Right.
I mean, I think the board
That's what I
really,
sense.
it's a board full of unsung heroes. And
Right.
it's something to be said to be an unsung hero, but, when you you kind of, feel good about what you're doing, but it is nice when people recognize it like yourself and say, thank you very much. And more people should know what goes into this, and you're right.
Yeah, I mean, you
You're
have
right.
more victories besides the Global Hope spot.
We do.
But I don't think anybody knows about them.
For anybody that comes, like 10,000 recreational permit holders that come for our, that want to go out there to get themselves some clams to enjoy and eat,
Right.
and enjoy that therapy and recreation out on the waterways.
Right.
I mean, they all appreciate it, and for all the families that are supported, the baymen, the hardworking baymen that are out there, I know they appreciate it, and hopefully everyone enjoys it.
one
But
other thing-
we do need to be
Go on.
more
Yeah.
outward, we do,
Yeah, you gotta
there's no doubt.
get the good story out.
I'd just like to mention, when I first became a trustee 17 years ago, the town used to give us $25,000 to do these shellfish reseedings. We use our own money out of our own budgets now. So that's another thing the town has pulled back on as far as, giving money for us to do projects to benefit everybody in the public.
But
So-
with the new board, maybe there's new thinking on that.
Well, we haven't approached them yet.
Right.
And another thing that we do, we have worked with the Pew Charitable Trust and the Nature's Conservancy, and they have been buying what they call whale oysters, or oysters that are too big for the aquaculturists to sell, and they've been putting them in western Shinnecock Bay in our sanctuary areas, on top of what we've done with Cornell, on top of what we've done with the college, and on top of what we've done with the Governor's Clean Water Task Force. So literally, there have been probably tens of millions of shellfish put in that area, and we see very good hard clam set from them, and we see some oyster sets that are starting to happen within the western Shinnecock Bay. The only thing that we haven't had a good success with is the bay scallops. So we're still working on that.
Trying to figure out why not,
Right. Anyway,
Thank you.
Yep.
You always have some good ideas.
It's a good
I appreciate
story.
that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
I told Chip that I had to come down for a couple permits that are being issued today. But long and the short of it is, DEC asked us why. We want to go straight to the north with the Mecox Bay Channel. So I
All right,
asked,
so you, hold on a second, though. This is public portion. So is this on further down in this agenda? Is this about a resolution that's on for today?
I don't know.
Inner science to.
Yeah, I want to make sure that this discussion is at the proper point in time. I want to get,
2024-63.
so this is on for a resolution. So you're not here for public portion, you're here to discuss a specific resolution that's offered today?
I'm here to ask the board, why do you want to run the channel to the north?
right, so let's-
Mr. President, I'd like to make a recommendation that we take this out of order.
Right, that's what I was gonna
And have a
suggest.
discussion on it now.
I was gonna suggest that. Let's just settle this out for a second. So there's nobody else here that wants to discuss anything in public portion. There's nobody on Zoom that wants to discuss anything on public portion, right? So I'm gonna close public portion at this point in time, and we're gonna take this out of order.
Yep.
This is resolution 2024-63.
63. Scott's making the motion.
Second.
Thanks.
I'll
second the
motion.
All right, seconded by Joe McLaughlin. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we're going a little bit out of order. All right, so now let's get this. So 2024-63. This is a resolution seeking to authorize InterScience professional services regarding the modification of a dredging permit, New York State DEC and Army Corps of Engineers for Mecox Bay, and authorizing the president to sign whatever paperwork necessary. Requires a resolution if we're gonna go in that direction. You have a question?
My only question is, how do we address the DEC's request on why we would change the channel to the north? And Chip is right, I heard discussion earlier. The old channel did go to the north, and then we dog-legged it to the right so that it would access the deeper water. So all I need is a couple sentence response. The work's already underway. We've been doing the work. The amount of time or effort that's been spent is very modest, but the DEC is asking us why.
Well, historically, we would open the channel when it was a high bay on a northwesterly wind and use the wind friction to push the water out. We would be taking the channel and steering it more to the north and west, allowing that wind to push the water straight out the channel. And every time you put anytime a channel meanders, it loses its velocity, at which time it meanders and it doesn't work as effective. I've seen that channel when it was straight and wide 20, 30 years ago on not a gale northwest, on a fairly strong northwesterly wind, having it push out, and it would stay open, and it would actually cut a much deeper channel when it was straight, and it wouldn't lose the velocity when that channel would meander slightly.
That's a good enough answer for me.
Well,
My worry is that, and I spoke with you earlier, is that if you start with an old river, you have a lot less control over where that thing's gonna go. So if you if you start with something straight, there's a good possibility but if we start with an old river, and then it's good chance of going towards Scott Cameron, then it's good chance of going towards that steel bulkhead, which we're trying to stop.
He's talking about the channel migrating to the west.
The dogleg, yeah, the dogleg will bounce to the east. You know, it'll move to the east and then shoot to the west if it gets out of control. So we want to try and keep it as controlled as possible.
I don't think the DEC has any particular concern about issuing the modification. I think as long as I go back to him with Ed and Chip's thoughts, we're gonna be fine.
Well, I'm going back to the original plan that was drawn by you, when my father and Scott Strow had me sit down and explain to them where the deep channels were, and they actually had a funnel plan drawn up, and that really worked very effectively for over a decade. So,
The old funnel plan preceded me.
well, that's
That's the one Dick Thayer dug.
yes, well,
I think the last time I knew it was dug that way was 1992.
yeah.
And it was effective, and it worked. In 1992, we had bad erosion on the Bridgehampton beaches, and that sand went to those beaches via Dick Thayer's paddle that he had. And then 1998, we had a lot more dramatic erosion, and that sand filled in the old channel, but it used to be shaped like that.
Yep, remember it well.
Well, as you are aware, because you've been at this for a long time, right? I mean, how many years you've been doing what you do?
A lot of different trustee members by now.
Yeah, but how many years, how many decades have you been doing this?
I've been doing the trustees thing on Mecox Bay since 2000.
Okay.
At the original request was Scott Stroud.
So over 2 decades, right?
A while.
So it's a process. So the first step of the process is this resolution authorizing myself to sign an agreement with your company, right? And then we're gonna put together an application with our thoughts, the board's thoughts of how we can do this, better. And then the DEC and the Army Corps of Engineers, they'll study it and they'll either concur or they'll advise why they disagree, and, and that's.
I think they will simply agree, but as everyone on the board knows, it's been a hot button topic.
Well, it's been a hot button topic, which is why, we're handling its transparency, discussion, and so that people also understand the process. It's just that the trustee boards get an idea and they run with it. We apply for, concurrence from the other regulatory authorities here, Army Corps and the state, and if there's something that they feel is gonna be an issue, they'll let us know and ask for some type of adjustment or something else. We've been back and forth on permits for a long time. So we'll put the ideas out there, we'll go through with the proper process, and we'll do the best we can.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, so, I will ask for a motion to adopt 2024-63.
Motion?
I'll second it.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so, all right, so let's go back on the schedule. Motion to go back on the schedule.
Motion?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's go back to the regularly scheduled. So I have Resolution 2024-51, application of Elias Shahab, Life Estate, 29 Shinnecock Road, East Quogue, tax map 900-384-3-56. I recommend its approval.
Second.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Got Resolution 2024-52, Robert Cavallino, 20 Corwin Lane, Hampton Bays, New York, tax map 900-259-01-24.5. Meets all Blue Book at this point in time, recommend its approval.
Second?
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
I have Resolution 2024-53, application to Kenneth Reiner, 30 Penman Point Road, Village of Quogue, tax map 902-6-2-12.2. Recommend its approval.
Second?
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Application of NTS Mecox LLC, 74 Point Mecox Lane, Bridgehampton, number 900-134-1-41.2, body of water is Swan Creek. It seems to comply to all Blue Book. So I'll
Second it.
accept.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Application of Dune Road Holdings, 35 Dune Road, Bridgehampton, New York. Body of water is the Atlantic Ocean. It's the standard snow fencing. All in favor?
Aye.
Or
second.
second it?
Seconded by trustee Parsons, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 57 of 2024, application of Barbara Lieberman, tax number 900-110-2-1.
Wait, I think I got skipped.
I think we
Skip
skipped
one.
one.
Yeah.
Application, this is an application of Gannett Creek Beach and Yacht Association, 42 Drive, Village of North Haven, New York. SCTM number 901-1-1-70, body of water is Gannett Creek. This is all Blue Book compliant. Do you have a second?
Second on that?
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Joseph, now.
Trustee Resolution 57 of 24, this is application of Barbara Lieberman, tax number 900-110-2-1. May I have a second?
Second on that?
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye. So it's me. Trustee Resolution 2024-58. This is the application of the Cosgrove Family LLC at 5 Castle View Court in West Hampton with tax map number 900-357-1-27 on the Beaver Dam Creek. I recommend its approval. I guess.
Second?
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Resolution 2024-47, this is the notice of adoption of the amendment of the Blue Book A340, amending the management and products of the waters of the town of Southampton, Article 1, definitions for the boat ramp and 4x4 beach driving.
I'll second that.
Seconded by trustee McLaughlin. All in favor?
Aye. Trustee Resolution 2024-59, resolution authorizing the president to sign a letter of authorization granting permission for the to engage in horseshoe crab monitoring with Cornell Carpet Extension of Suffolk County for the season of 2024. I recommend its approval.
Second.
Seconded, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2024-60, notice of public hearing to amend the rules and regulations of management of products of the water, the Blue Book, considering amending the management of products of the water of the town of Southampton, Article 5, Section 36, moorings.
Second.
So you're setting the Blue Book, you're setting the public hearing for
public
March
hearing.
18th, 2024,
I'm
1
looking,
PM.
yep, that's looking for the date, correct.
Seconded by Joe McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we have Trustee Resolution 2024-65, this is a recall and rescind 2024 TRS-2.
This is a resolution authorizing Riverhead Building Supply, which they did not actually put a bid in for the work, so we are rescinding it because it was to award them a contract with
Right,
us.
so I'd like to recall and rescind. So I need a second.
I'll second on
Second.
that.
Is that
Trust-
two resolutions or one?
We have another resolution to substitute the proper,
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
right? So we'll call and rescind this one. So Ed seconded, all in favor on the rescind.
Yep.
All right, so
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion,
Good.
authorize purchases from Omnia Partners contracts with 84 Lumber for the 2024, whereas 84 Lumber holds the current cooperative contracts with Omnia Partners for contract number 02-109. It remains in effect through April 30th, 2025, and where goods or services are procured from a valid state, county, or legal applicable federal and cooperative entities contract exceeding the mandatory bidding threshold of $20,000 and $35,000 for public works. A resolution authorizing the purchase must be submitted and approved by the Board of Trustees. Whereas funding shall be various GL accounts in amount not to exceed individual budgets, resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Freeholders and Commonalty of the Town of Southampton hereby authorize the purchase of building and facilities supplies from the Omnia contract that is currently held by 84 Lumber.
So first I need a motion to take out of order.
Motion to take out of order?
I need a second.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Now I need a motion to amend.
Motion to amend?
Second.
Seconded, Joseph McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye.
Now I need a motion to adopt as amended, please.
Motion to adopt as
So
amended?
seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
we're all official now,
Yeah.
right? 84 Lumber?
Yes, so that is now the company replacing Riverhead Building Supply. We cannot use Riverhead Building Supply anymore, which we've used for a very long time.
Okay,
So Lisa's, she let Marine Maintenance know. And
Okay.
now she's gonna set up a account with 84 Lumber to go get supplies and snow fencing, et cetera. Yes,
okay,
okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee
to-
Resolution 2024-62 authorizes the purchase of a Garmin GPS for the trustee barge from Hampton Navigation. My recommended approval. Need a
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so 2024-64 we just did, right?
Yep.
Sorry, who was the second on that one?
Edward?
That was it, yeah.
63 we need. We did that.
I did that one, we gotta do
65.
65.
Trustee Resolution 2024-65, a resolution authorizing the commencement of litigation.
Well, I won't be, I'm sure I won't be asked for any advice, and I'm not voting on it, so I don't, what's the basis of whatever it
You
is?
can sit there.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
All right, whereas B Law Group LLP has requested authorization to commence a legal action against the town of Southampton and associated persons and entities related to the personal matters, including but not limited to declaratory judgment, contempt of court, breach of contract, and mandamus Article 78 of the Civil Law, Practice Law, and Rules, and whereas the Board of Trustees deem it in the best interest of the town, its residents, and the freeholders and the commonalty of Southampton to approve the aforementioned request to commence the above described action, now therefore it be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes Be Ready Law Group LLP to initiate litigation against the town of Southampton related to persons' entitlements of the Supreme Court of the County of Suffolk and any court that constructs justice. Be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes Be Ready Law Group LLP and the Board President to take an action that it may be necessary to undertaking the foregoing.
Okay. So do you have a motion on the table?
I have a motion on the table, and I believe our special counsel, Joel Lombardo,
I
is
think we
going
need
to...
it seconded first.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I'll second it.
Seconded by trustee Marin, are we all in favor?
I'd like to do a roll call
We're gonna do a
vote.
roll call.
Wait, we need, you wanted me to speak first before you vote, so.
Okay.
Yes.
This resolution is necessary in order to protect the rights of the Board of Trustees. Over the last year and change, we've been engaged in negotiations with the town relative to our tax line, relative to other matters which go along with it. Last fall, the Schneiderman administration saw fit to take the marine maintenance person that we had under our control per the court stipulation from 1994 and place him under the control of the Bay Constables, the Marine Patrol under the Police Department. We requested that the action be rescinded. There's been no formal action to do so. The law of the state of New York places statutes of limitations to commence litigation to preserve rights. Many times these are numbered in years. Contract 6 years, negligence 3. But generally speaking, when you're dealing with a governmental entity and actions that they take or won't take or should take and will not take, there's a much shorter statute of limitations. The statute of limitations for this type of action to enforce our rights is 120 days. That is going to expire on or around the 12th of March. This resolution in no way demands that the action be filed, but it authorizes our counsel to file the action prior to the statute of limitations date. I would liken the statute of limitations to the story of Cinderella. At midnight, the coach turned back into a pumpkin. On March 13th, we cannot go to court to enforce our rights. This is a prophylactic action. There have been negotiations ongoing, and there's every likelihood that this could be resolved before the statute of limitations expires. But without this resolution, if it shouldn't happen, we would then be precluded on the 13th to go to court. So what you're doing is preserving rights. It is in no means a declaration that that we will file a court action, but it allows you the flexibility to go back and try to solve this with a clear understanding that we will, if necessary, go to court.
So this resolution doesn't take effect from the 12th, then, and the 13th?
It's taking effect now, right?
No,
Yeah, what it's doing is preserving the rights for our counsel to finish drafting, present the document for signature to the president, and then to file it with court.
But it doesn't go into motion until the 13th, right?
I'm sorry?
It doesn't go into motion until the 13th.
Nothing will happen until we tell counsel to go ahead and file. This just preserves our right to be able to do so without needing to call a special meeting again.
Okay.
Because the cumbersome procedures to set a special meeting, we're up against the deadline. We need to protect our rights.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so the reality is that this was an action that was taken by a prior administration. You know, being a trustee is a big responsibility. You have a fiduciary duty to protect and defend that trust. And in this instance, you're talking about protecting natural resources and defending public access. And these are at the heart of the quality of life for the people of the town of Southampton and everybody that visits the town of Southampton. And when you serve and take an oath as a trustee of a trust, and not just any trust, this is like the oldest elected board that there is, right, in the country, in an area that is so known for its beaches and its beautiful waterways. You have to do everything that you can to preserve that. That's our charge. That's why people put us in these seats. And, you know, you have to follow the protocols, you know, the dotting of the I's and the crossing of the T's. I fully expect that we will be working very collaboratively together in an arena of mutual respect with the town board and all the other departments that there are of the town and the other regulatory authorities, the state and beyond into the federal government. That's my view of how it will be. We'll clean up on not just aisle 7, but every aisle from the past spills that occurred, okay?
Correct.
But the view is that we will fix this, because that's what the people of the town of Southampton expect us to do. That we will all collaboratively work respectfully to preserve what's important. And this is an important action to let people know we're serious about what we do. And whatever it takes, we will do, but I expect that it will all be resolved.
We're
It's a
merely
big and
asking
very-
that everybody live up to the word that they agreed to back in 1994.
Correct.
And
These
to
are,
be clear that we aren't a department of the town, we are a separate,
we're not a department,
we're
but
not a department of the town, and we would love to work with the town.
correct.
Right.
Then, you know, but we are entrusted with the Bay Bottoms, you know, and that is basically
We work
what
with
are we
others.
try, what we are trying to protect. We have all intentions of working with the town cohesively, but we are not a department of the town.
Right, and what, if we do have to go to court, what we're getting is a clear declaration from the court that that an agreement that was made is one that is valid and enforceable.
Right. This could be resolved in a couple of days. It could be
It
resolved
could be, but it's
very
been,
easily.
it's
Okay.
been going on, and we're reaching a point where we have to do something to protect.
There's more and more examples every single day of why you need to have these assets clearly defined on the tax bill as transparently as possible and memorialized to keep things going the way we need them to keep going for the generations of the town of Southampton. This is heavy lift work. It shouldn't be. We should all be shoulder to shoulder in securing this for this generation and generations beyond. But unfortunately, human nature has things where people like to make them more difficult than they really have to be.
I would agree.
All right, so that being said, I would like to call a roll call vote on this. We have a motion, we have a second. I would start with trustee McLaughlin,
Aye.
trustee Warner, President Horowitz, aye.
Aye.
Mr. Marion,
Aye.
Parsons, aye. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
And I look forward to working with the supervisor and the town board on an amicable resolution moving forward here. Okay, I think that we have a walk-on here too, right?
Yes.
Trustee Secretary Treasurer Warner, you have a walk-on. You want me to read it? You want to read it?
You want a resolution?
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to walk on the warrant number 3.
I'll second that.
Seconded by trustee Warner. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And now?
The warrant of 3 of 2024 for the trustees resolved that the recommendation and review of the town comptroller, the following vendor payment warrant number 3 be approved in the amount of $33,930.29. The check register is Automotive Retail, Inc. for $11,093.26. Be Ready Fishbone Hatter, $4,412.50. Bobcat Limited, Medford, $68.94. Call Ahead, $50. Joseph A. Freeman, $2,500. Government Connection, Inc., $4,685.53. Daction Dodge Company, $9,490. New York Department of Environmental Conservation, $600. Receiver of Taxes, $500.90. Trias Inc., $143. WB Mason Inc., $386.16 for a total of $3,930.29. I recommend its approval.
Second.
Seconded by trustee McLaughlin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the bills will be paid.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know we had some discussions before. Is there any more trustee discussion? We do need more executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel and litigation issues. Is there any further discussion that's, warranted here before we go into that executive session?
Just a heads up, I did see the Army Corps Engineers survey boat in Shinnecock Bay, just south of the Shinnecock Canal. They were doing surveys of a spot that we asked the Army Corps to look at for a dredging project. Hopefully this fall will be taken care of. It's part of the Intercoastal Waterway, so they are doing their research, and hopefully they will have their results so that we can have this area dredged for safe navigation in the future.
Right, they say they're gonna be doing the entire system, and we have the charts are sitting on my desk back at 240 West Montauk. It's not gonna happen before the season, and right now, there's a diligent effort to secure appropriate spoil sites, as we discussed. So the Army Corps is working on that. We've provided some guidance of things for like the area you're talking about, and they're pretty set on that. But they're talking about running right up through the Quad Canal and different areas. They're not gonna do the whole thing. They're just, like you saw the boat, they're pinpointing exactly where. They've done almost 200 samples, so they know the grain analysis of each one of these spots, and they are making some great headway. They say they're gonna be doing it. So thanks for bringing that
And
up.
also, Trustee Horowitz and I spoke with Mayor Manger last week about some improvements to the trustee parking lot at the south end of Agawam. Hopefully that will commence this fall. A rain garden and also improvements to parking and making it more environmentally friendly down there. So hopefully that will be a good thing, and look forward to seeing that commencing in the fall.
Right, we had a very excellent collaboration with the village, right?
Correct, yeah.
Good meeting. Trustee Parsons, do you have anything, or are you good?
We're good, yeah.
I do have a quick one I haven't heard from me. The Parks was gonna draft a letter to me, and it's just something to put on the radar. We talked about, there's an access road, and now I can't remember, I believe it's at the I don't know if it's Scott Cameron or
Segment.
the Sag Main entrance is, there's it's not really a trustee road, but they would like to discontinue that and only use the access that runs east-west, and discontinue the one that goes over the dune, because the dune keeps getting compromised. And, I thought it'd be a good idea to have that, to just have them be able to replenish the dune using snow fencing rather than have that as an access road. And they just wanted to clear it with the trustees before they went ahead with it. So I personally think that those access roads that run east-west are a lot less, have a lot less environmental impact, and, as we have beach erosion, that they're not as impacted, so.
I agree.
What else? Anybody else?
We are still working on the beach events thing. Actually, Joe had typed something up on Friday. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but yeah, we had a nice meeting with Joe and Lisa, and
Good.
making progress.
Good.
Yeah, you could give us an update on the Fire Island Montauk program there.
I've spoken with the town attorney's office. They're going to be the ones that are basically shepherding the project for the feds. We've identified the trustee roads, and we have a telephone conference between the town and the trustees and the Army Corps next Monday afternoon. We can provide the information if you guys want to meet and chime in.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for that. But definitely provide the information so that the trustees can participate. That would be very good. Okay, so that being said, I know we have another chunk of executive session to go through. So I will make a motion to adjourn this meeting and go into exec for the purposes of discussing litigation and personnel issues.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Have a nice afternoon, everybody.